All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about the wild ride of the digital classroom. We'll trace it all the way from its early days, the promise of learning anywhere, anytime, to the absolute AI revolution that's shaking things up as we speak. So, how did we get here? And maybe more importantly, where in the world are we going next?
This updated take on a classic Einstein quote really just hits the nail on the head. It's basically saying that the real stuff, the knowledge that actually sticks with you long after the tests are a distant memory, well, that's all going digital. And this isn't just some passing trend, right? This is the new foundation for how we learn.
So, to really get this, we have to start at the beginning. Let's unpack the why behind this whole massive shift. What was it about the traditional classroom that made us search for something new? What was that original digital promise that got everyone so excited? I mean, this was the big one, wasn't it? The question that all the early e-learning pioneers were asking. Was it possible that technology could finally fix some of education's oldest headaches? Things like access and cost and that one-size-fits-all approach? The hope was just enormous. But could it actually deliver on that hope?
When you put them side by side, the contrast is, well, it's night and day. The old school model was all about limits. You had to be in one specific place at one specific time, learning the exact same thing as everyone else. The digital promise was the total opposite. It was about freedom. The freedom to learn wherever you are, at your own speed, and in a way that's actually designed for you.
Okay, so with that incredible promise lighting the way, how did we actually start to build this thing? Let's take a look at the playbook, the core ideas and the key technologies that help turn this big dream into something real.
You see, this whole shift wasn't just about cool new gadgets. Our actual understanding of how people learn was changing too. We went from behaviorism to cognitivism, then to constructivism, and then the digital age gave us connectivism. And honestly, it's a perfect theory for our time. Just think about it. If all human knowledge is this giant, tangled web, then learning is just the skill of building your own paths through it.
And those theories led to three main models in practice. First, you've got the LMS, the Learning Management System, that became the digital spine for basically every school. Then came the MOOCs, the massive open online courses, which blew the doors off university-level learning and made it available to anyone on the planet. And finally, blended learning, which tries to get the best of both worlds, mixing online tools with good old-fashioned face-to-face time. And for years, that was pretty much the playbook. We made the LMS a little better, the MOOCs a little bigger, tweaked blended learning. It was a slow, steady improvement. But these models, as great as they were still kind of playing by the old rules. They made education more accessible, sure, but it wasn't a fundamental change. And then a true revolution showed up.
And this new player didn't just join the game. It threatened to flip the whole board over. This represents a seismic shift in what's possible, and it's forcing all of us to rethink everything we thought we knew about digital learning.
And of course, we are talking about tools like ChatGPT. To put it simply, it's an AI you can just talk to. It gets what you're asking, and it can create totally original stuff. Essays, lesson plans, even computer code that sounds shockingly human.
I mean, the potential here is just mind-blowing. Think about a student who's stuck on algebra. This isn't just a calculator, it's a 24/7 tutor that can patiently explain a concept 10 different ways until it finally clicks. For a teacher, it's like an assistant that can whip up 5 versions of a quiz in seconds, which frees them up to, actually teach. It's a partner for practicing a new language, a creative spark for brainstorming a story. The list goes on.
But, and it's a huge but, all of this incredible power brings some seriously new problems. The most obvious one is cheating. If an AI can write a perfect essay, how do we ever really know what a student has learned? Then there's the whole accuracy issue. These tools can hallucinate, making up facts and stating them with absolute certainty. And what about the risk of us just becoming lazy, where we stop learning how to think and just learn how to write the perfect prompt?
And that brings us to the biggest challenge of all, access. All this talk about AI tutors is fascinating, but it means absolutely nothing if you can't even get online. To really get a sense of this gap between the promise and the reality, let's look at a real-world case, Bosnia and Herzegovina.
So, as you can see, internet access in Bosnia and Herzegovina is growing, for sure. But the country is still playing catch-up with its neighbors. And that gap in just basic connectivity, that's the first and the biggest hurdle. You can't have an e-learning revolution if people can't get a stable connection.
And it gets a lot deeper than just having internet at home. A 2021 study by UNICEF and UNESCO found this just staggering figure. Over 66% of primary schools in the entire country didn't have a single dedicated computer classroom. Let that sink in. We're not talking about AI tutors here. We're talking about a lack of the most basic digital tools.
And this, right here, is the central conflict of our whole story. You have this incredible dream of a super personalized AI-powered future for every single student, and it's just slamming head-on into the brutal reality that millions of people don't even have the basic tools to join the conversation.
So where do we go from here? We have these unbelievable new tools with all this potential, but we also have these massive systemic problems. How do we build a future of learning that's not only smarter, but also a whole lot more fair?
Well, it seems to come down to three key things. First, and this is the big one, we have to bridge those infrastructure gaps. Access isn't a nice to have, it's the absolute foundation of everything. Second, we have to integrate this tech thoughtfully. It's about solid teaching principles, not just chasing the shiniest new toy. And third, we have to double down on what makes us human. Skills like critical thinking and digital literacy, so we can use these tools as partners, not as crutches.
And that leaves us with this final, crucial question. Look, the whole point of education has never been just to collect facts. Our tools can do that for us now. The real goal has always been about developing wisdom. So, as our technology gets smarter and smarter, the real challenge for all of us is this: how do we make sure our learning gets wiser too?